2017, fake news became Collins' dictionary word of years, and it's remained in the headlines ever since. Although the phrase might appear to be modern invention, examples of it can be found through the history. From ancient Rome up to the present day, stories that are not true or are meant to be misleading have been used to make money, change people's views and options, and make up questions who we cannot trust. Now, with the explosion of internet and social media, it seems to be everywhere and travels faster at any other point in history. Let's start with the ancient history. Around 2000 years ago, the Roman Republic was facing a civil war between Octavian, the adopted son of a great general Julius Caesar, and Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most trusted commanders. To win the war, Octavian knew he had to have the public on his side. Winning important battles helped, but if the people don't like him, he would not be a successful ruler. To get public backing, Octavian launched a fake news against Mark Antony. He claimed Antony, who was having an affair with Cleopatra, the Egyptian queen, didn't respect traditional Roman values like usually traditional Roman respect. Octavian also said he was unfit to hold office because he was always drunk. So, a statue of Augustus Caesar, Octavian rebranded himself as Augustus when he became the first emperor of Rome. Octavian got his message to the public through poetry and shorts, snappy slogans printed on the coins. It was a bit like an ancient version of a political today, releasing a book or sending out a social media post. Octavian eventually won the war and became the first emperor of Rome, ruling for over 40 years. Let's go around 18th of century, our next topic. After the invention of the printing press in the 15th century, news, both real and fake, was able to spread faster than ever before. This technology meant books and other documents could be produced much quicker than any handwriting. In the mid 70s, the printing press helped to spread fake news about George II, who was the King of Great Britain and Ireland at the time. The king was facing a rebellion and relied on being seen as a strong leader to make sure the rebellion didn't succeed. Fake news about the king being ill was printed from sources on the side of the rebels. It didn't take long before these stories were seen by other printers who then republished them. They harmed the king's public image, and although the rebellion wasn't successful, showed how fake news can be used to try to change people's opinions. The same thing happened today when a fake story is published on purpose to harm someone else. Unfortunately, it seems checked and gets shared by people or organizations thinking it is true, some of whom might have large followings. It starts to be taken seriously, and the more it is shared, the quicker it spreads. Also, we will talk about the creatures on the moon. By 19th century, newspapers were an easy and cheap way of getting news out of the public. In America, printing became so cheap that some papers could be bought for just a penny. One of his papers was the New York Sun, that published a series of articles in 1835 about life on Moon. They described how there were fantastic animals such as unicorns, two-legged beavers, and even flying Batman. Um, Jan Hislop investigates the truth behind the Great Moon hoax. From Jan Hislop's fake news, true history in BBC 4, they wrongly claimed the discoveries were made by a well-known astronomer at the time, which helped people to believe the story was true. These made up stories were very popular, and sales of the paper shot up as readers all wanted to find out about this amazing discovery. The writer of the articles knew the story wasn't true and had meant for this to be satire. This is when a writer uses humor and exaggeration to make fun of a silly idea. In this case, that there were creatures living in the moon. It still happens today. A lot of social media, sometimes comedy and satirical accounts, will publish a made-up story supposed to make us laugh, and people share it thinking it's true. This is another form of fake news. Fake news and war, our next topic. Propaganda has been used in wars through history and tried to change people's views. This is a type of fake news where false information is used for political gain. It can help change public opinion by persuading people that their country should go to war or convince them the other side of the enemy. In 1898, a United States Navy ship called USS Maine sank in Cuba. Some of the newspapers blamed the Spanish for the sinking and used artist illustrations of a dramatic explosion to convince readers that this was true. However, there was no real evidence of this being a fact. Americans now saw the Spanish as the enemy. A few years later, the Spanish-American War broke out. The false reports has worked. The story of how a fake news headline led to war. From Jan Hislop's Fake News, True History, BBC 4. Closer to home, in 1970, during the First World War, British newspapers such as The Times and Daily Mail ran a gruesome story claimed that the Germans were extracting fat from bodies of dead soldiers on both sides and of the war to make soap and margarine. The story came up from official British government department and was spread to the press. The officials knew that this story wasn't true, but it helped persuade readers that the Germans were a barbaric enemy and convinced many that they had to be defeated. Something about fake news now. In recent years, there have been an explosion of fake news or false stories and shared widely on social media without being fact-checked. Cheap and portable access to the internet across the globe means stories can spread in a matter of seconds and minutes rather than days or weeks. Many of these stories are completely made up and can make money from advertising. The more clicks a website gets, the more money it makes. This often leads to clickbait, eye-checking but misleading headlines designed to get people to click on links. It pursues can be to generate clicks and advertisement money, but it can also be used to influence public opinion with headlines that spread to our beliefs. This happened a lot during 2016 US presidential election, where fake news about the candidates spread and could have influenced the public on how they were voted. As fake news now become more and more was spread, the term itself began to change. Politicians began to use the phrase to attack news organizations they disagree with, accusing them of being the ones who spread fake news. By calling real news fake news, it allowed real fake news to get more attention, as people didn't know who to trust because it's very confusing. The future of fake news. Over the years, the development of technology has helped fake news spread through invention like printing press, photographs, and social media. Videos were usually a fairly reliable source of news, as they can't be faked as easily as photograph or headlines. However, the reliability of video sources is now under threat. These are videos that use computer softwares and machine learning to create a digital version of someone. Normally, it's used to put the face of a celebrity or politician on someone else's body. As the technology improves, deepfakes will become more realistic and harder to notice. But many amateur deepfakes can be spotted by unusual flickering or blurring around the face. So keep an eye out for that if you are suspicious about a video you see. So where do we go next with that? As students, you need to be very careful and think about what is fake news and what is a reality. Thank you so much.